Dear students, welcome to our new chapter on population genetics as it applies to animal breeding and genetics. So today, after reviewing the laws of Hardy-weinberg, we shall determine the genetic structure of a population. The Hardy-weinberg law states that for a population that is in equilibrium, the frequency of alleles and genes remain constant from one generation to the next if the following conditions are gathered. Firstly, the population size must be big enough. Secondly, there should be random mating. Thirdly, there should be a lack of overlapping between generations, that is, the generation of parent is fully replaced by the generation of offspring during reproduction. And finally, there should be no evolution forces, that is migration, mutation, and selection. Okay, now those conditions give rise to the following consequences. I'm going to focus more on the last one that gives rise to the mathematical expression of the equation of Hardy-weinberg that states that for a population in equilibrium, the sum of allele frequencies is equal to 1. Now, second step, how to determine the genetic structure. The genetic structure is composed by the allele frequencies, the genotype frequencies, and the phenotype frequencies. Here we have a case study. In a population of hens, the proportion of genes responsible for the naked neck mutation, noted NA, is 88/1000. This mutation is predominantly incomplete, with homozygote naked neck presenting the entirely naked neck as here presented, the heterozygote presenting various degrees of feathering only at the lower half of the neck as here presented, and finally the rest of the population fully feathered on the neck and on the body. Now the question is, determine the genetic structure. So first step of our solution is to determine the allele frequency. So we start by naming all the alleles as well as their frequencies. And once this is done, bear in mind that we have the proportion of naked neck animals. The equation of Hardy-weinberg will help us to deduct the frequency of fully feathered neck from the first frequency, and here we are. Now, secondly, you have to determine the genotype frequencies. To do so, we use the Punnett square, and here we have the P plus the Q in terms of frequencies of the males, that is the cocks, crossed by the P plus Q of all the females, and that will give us the new expression of the equation of Hardy-weinberg. By exploiting this equation, we'll get our various genotype frequencies. Thirdly, to determine the phenotype frequencies, we have to consider the fact that heterozygotes are clearly distinct from the two homozygote parents, taking us to deduct the fact that the genotype frequencies are equal to the phenotype frequencies as here presented. So, dear students, we have these two take-home assignments. So, your advice to go through detailing and then treat it. before we meet for correction during our next class. So I'm going to stop here and thank you very much for your very kind attention.